Welcome to today's episode, everyone. We've got a very exciting guest for you guys. For those of you just joining the podcast, we're E.N.G Media, and we specialize in helping technology companies scale their revenue. So if you want to learn more about how to take your software or tech business to the next level, make sure to stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop us the word growth in the DMs. But without further ado, Shane, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Super excited to dive into NurseIO's solutions, all the awesome things that you guys are working on. So really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thank you, Tyson. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. So let's just maybe start by you kind of breaking down, a little bit more about what NurseIO is and kind of, what the role that you play in the day-to-day with it as well.
Yeah, NurseIO is a really interesting platform that's connecting healthcare facilities that have nursing shortages, which is pretty much every healthcare facility. There's up to
Mm-hmm.
over a million shortages or a million openings today in the United States because of a lot of different factors. So this platform, which is AI powered, connects healthcare facilities that need a per diem nurse or CNA or PRN
Uh-huh.
with nurses that no longer want to work just full time for one facility. They want to have a little bit more control over their PTO schedule. They want a little bit more control over maybe they're taking care of a elderly parent or
Yeah.
their own son or daughter, or their health doesn't allow them to work 5 or 6 days a week. But it's really empowering people in this new generation of workforce
Yeah.
optimization of connecting the facility with people that want more control over their schedule and their compensation.
100%. I think that that's awesome. And I really noticed as well, because, during COVID, I was still working, for a corporation. And I think I really seen like the culture shift and change, when everybody went remote for the most part. And it was time to come back to work. People didn't necessarily want to come back to work. And there were hybrid roles kind of incorporated. So, did NurseIO really see a spike maybe post COVID of potential nurses kind of wanting more control over their schedules and utilizing the benefits of the platform?
Yeah, so the company was started by two high school friends from New Mexico that were living out here in the Phoenix metropolitan area,
Wow.
and they had were starting to build an actual nursing staffing company. They soon realized that an app with great technology
Mm.
would, just really superpower their staffing agency.
Yeah.
So they leaned into that, and it was great timing. Everybody likes to say that, oh, we have, the perfect strategy or the perfect tactics. A lot of times in business, it's you need a really good product with great timing, and
Right.
that's exactly what happened. So there was an enormous spike up from 2020 to 2021, and then into 2022 and 2023, where astronomical growth was witnessed.
Wow.
And so the company, to their credit, the founders especially, always continue to pump money back into the AI platform. And this is before the last couple years of how AI is now the buzz for everything in healthcare. This was literally, how can we make a good company and do it quickly and to learn and to be able to adjust quickly? And
Oh,
then obviously the COVID and everything associated with COVID,
yeah.
people's mindsets just totally changed. There's this statistic that I mention a lot that I can't even get out of my mind because it's
Uh-huh.
it's so big. Is Fierce Healthcare, which is a surveying company that does everything, across healthcare and medical devices and digital health and all sorts of stuff. They polled over, or they surveyed over a million nurses
Uh-huh.
2 years ago. 88% said they would be working somewhere else within 12 months.
Huh.
They didn't say, very small, said they would be out of nursing altogether. And it wasn't necessarily because they hated where they worked. They just knew that they wanted something different. They wanted more flexibility. They didn't want
Yeah.
to be told, hey, you have to work July 4th,
Right.
because you're the low person on the totem pole. Like, people just want more control. And all of us, kind of hobbled through COVID with different, restrictions and everything else. But most people really looked in the mirror and said, what do I want out of my career? What do I want out of my life? What do I want out of my
Right.
neighborhood? And people are acting accordingly. And you see that across almost every industry there is.
Uh-huh.
But we think we're really well represented to jump in and be a great solution for healthcare.
Absolutely. Appreciate you providing some insight into kind of, how the company was started. I think now you guys have over 15,000 active nurses on the platform, consistently getting paired up with their ideal job or working on that per diem basis. was something that really stuck out to me as well that you just mentioned was the importance of having an app with really, I guess highly effective AI and effective technology. Can you kind of, walk us through a little bit of what NurseIO is doing with AI and how it's helping its users kind of get to where they want to be?
Yeah, so in the back end of everything, so when we're listening in the marketplace and people are asking for a different functionality or different analytics, instead of having a team of 100 people, and developers that are coding for all this stuff and developing for all these features,
Right.
we have a tiny team with a really talented chief technology officer.
Mhm.
So the AI in the background is Cursor, and that is, the AI language that we're dealing with on that platform. So we're able to iterate very quickly. So if the market goes to the left and we want to help the marketplace, we can go to the left without having to go through, the priorities of a 100-person dev team over and over.
Wow.
So that's a good thing. And so, but what is even more important is the value that we're bringing to the people that are using this, right? So
Right.
if I'm a staffing nurse in a hospital or an ambulatory surgery center or a nursing home, and I hear about a couple of people calling in sick or just, patient volume is enough that I need to bring people on, I
Yeah.
can literally pick up my phone and say, Ella, which is our AI engine,
Uh-huh.
unique to us, Ella, I need two nurses with these qualifications for the second shift on Saturday. And it takes from the voice, it takes it and posts that onto our website of the parameters that the nurse set up and that we've set up in the background. And
Wow.
so it's not me, pulling over on the side of the road and being able to enter all this stuff in the scheduling software or to be calling people manually.
Yeah.
I can be walking out of the hospital exhausted and say, I need three people next Tuesday in the ICU, and
Wow.
they it can already learn about that person's preferences in terms of staffing and then post that.
Uh-huh.
And then what is also really unique is a lot of us who hire for a living, which
Sure.
all of us ultimately do in one way, shape, or form, whether it's a babysitter or a pool maintenance person or anything else, you want to know that you're attracting really good talent. And
Right.
the best way to guarantee that is, reference checks and interviews, and we do all those things, but also to know that your compensation is appropriate and people are going to be attracted to your compensation. We
Right.
have market data that is on the app. So if I'm the chief nursing officer at a nursing home,
Uh-huh.
people don't seem to be picking up the shifts that I'm posting.
Right.
We have a free service within our app, within NurseIO, that same nursing director can jump on and see within that zip code over the last week what the market rate is showing for shifts that have been picked up by all the surrounding healthcare facilities
Wow.
for that class of RN or nursing assistant or whatever. So that is real time AI and it's always updated on every time a shift posts anywhere that we have visibility to it. It's updating. So I know, hey, I've been posting at $49 an hour for a shift,
Uh-huh.
but the people that are getting a better hit rate on getting shifts filled are at $56.
Yeah.
And if somebody works 8 hours, they get a free lunch or they get, some rewards points or whatever else. So that helps people on the nursing perspective, on the staffing,
Sure.
be really competitive to get the best talent in the marketplace. And oh, by the way,
Yeah.
within 2 hours of that nurse finishing their shift, we are paying them directly that day.
Wow.
And when you think about all of the nurses and the vast majority of CNAs,
Uh-huh.
vast majority of CNAs are single moms. They not only want to know what their rate per hour is, they
Right.
want to know how quickly they're going to be paid so they can pay some bills.
Right.
We empower people to do that instantly with AI and with full price transparency.
Wow. Awesome. Man, that's inspirational for sure. I think you're really allowing like CNAs and nurses overall just to be able to become their own boss, really, which I think is super awesome. I know that everybody has competitors, but it really sounds like you guys are providing something that's extremely like specialized. And I haven't personally heard of any other, softwares or platforms that are doing what you guys are doing in the health tech space. But like you mentioned before our podcast, you guys do have some competitors in the space. Let's just say, if I were a potential, nursing home or hospital looking to hire nurses, or if I'm a nurse potentially looking to work around my schedule, what would be some other things, outside of what we already covered that you would want me to know about NurseIO that would set you guys apart from maybe similar companies that are doing something similar to you guys, and like how would that positively impact me?
Yeah, the features that we were just talking about, those are definitely advantages for us. So a
Sure.
lot of companies claim that they're, AI powered and they use AI. AI is our native language in terms of our software development,
Mm,
meaning the speed at which we are able to listen and adjust to fit the needs of a chief nursing officer.
yeah.
I don't think anybody can even come close to that. I mean, we're literally in an hour or two able to change a lot of functions within what we're trying to do
Mhm.
specific to that facility. Our transparent pricing is a huge advantage. Our
Nice.
our same day pay to a nurse is an advantage. And I think our specialization is an advantage too. We like to say that we're a technology company
Mhm.
that helps, nurses and healthcare facilities, where everybody else, it feels like they are staffing agencies that try to use technology to fit the bill. And
Right.
there's the nuance there is that we want to help solve this huge problem,
Uh,
but we know with our technology we could literally do any sort of staffing that you can even think of.
right.
Any per diem staffing we could plug into our thing. Some other apps and some other services do that, from dental hygienists to physical therapists
Uh,
to substitute teachers to a lot of different things. We are focused on nurses. It's in our name. Maybe in the future when we get, when we're able to help solve one of the biggest problems and hurdles within healthcare today,
mhm.
and that's nursing shortages. Maybe when we get great traction there and we're able to take great care on both sides of the facility and the nurses that want to work that way, maybe then we can even fathom getting into something else. But we want to stay laser focused so we're the most responsive, most innovative, and most impactful in the marketplace.
100%. It sounds like you guys are definitely well on your way. And kind of, since we're on that subject, what would you say are some goals in the next 12 months for, nurse.io in terms of growth? Like, are you guys maybe looking to expand your teams, expand globally, I guess? Like, do you guys have any specific goals over the next 12 months?
Yeah, we've relied up to this point on an unbelievably committed and talented core group.
Nice.
And that, is inspirational to me. I've only been with the company for a couple of months, so
Sure.
it's inspirational for me to see this really gritty, cohesive, fast thinking group that help finish each other's sentences and jump into problems and run into the proverbial burning buildings. But
Yeah.
I want to make sure that as we scale into other geographies and other healthcare facilities, that we can provide the same great customer service, customer implementation, customer success as
Right.
we've been doing forever. The team bootstrapped before me, bootstrapped to the revenue level that we're at today
Yeah.
as a private company without outside debt, without outside investment, meaning we want to keep control of this company
Sure.
so it doesn't become diluted, so it doesn't become unfocused and a cash grab. We
Right.
really want to be that solution for that single mom that wants to pick up an extra shift, or that facility that wants to take better care of a patient with another nurse on staff. The
Yeah.
way we think we can do that best is by bringing on a few more talented people, not
Yeah.
hundreds of more talented people, but a few more talented people, and
Right.
staying laser focused where we are today until we get really, really good at it. And then we'll potentially think about other avenues.
100%. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that vision, especially kind of coming from you because I know you've been with NurseIO for the past couple of months, but you've obviously been in the industry as a leader for multiple years, kind of leading up to this point. So it's insightful for me to see that you guys have a really strong, solid core team that's kind of doing all the work themselves. Like you said, they bootstrapped it. They're the ones solving all the problems, providing a good customer experience, and then they're going to kind of once you guys look to scale and bring it on, they'll be able to actually know what to look for and know how to kind of keep that culture like tight and in place, really the way it is. So
Yeah, there's when you surround yourself with bright people, and we always try to surround ourselves with people that are better than we are, smarter than we are, more experienced than we are. The only ideas that actually count are not the ones that come from conference rooms or Zoom calls or, brainstorming sessions. The only ideas that count are the ones that are executed well that gain traction in the marketplace.
Uh,
Everything else is just an intellectual exercise and an intellectual joust. We can all come up with cool ideas on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. The only ones that truly count are the ones that stick and
yeah,
that add value in a marketplace.
100%. Yeah, it's one thing to like think of something, and it's another thing to actually execute it the right way in the markets. Definitely a huge difference. And by the way, is that team, that solid core team that you had mentioned, are they from Arizona originally? I think you mentioned.
The high school friends, Seth and Ryan, the
Yeah.
co-founders, they are still in operating roles within the company.
Yeah.
They grew up in New Mexico, and they
Uh,
both made their way to the valley to Phoenix
nice.
in independently, but obviously we're really good friends. So started collaborating on different entrepreneurial pursuits within Phoenix.
Nice.
So most of the team is split between Phoenix and Texas.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That's definitely because I know we're based out of Arizona as well, so I better definitely have to check your guys' office and everything like that out. But you kind of you mentioned the goal for the company, and it really sounds like you guys are indirect like trajectory to hitting that goal. I guess one question I always like to ask in the podcast, and I get a bunch of different answers for sure, but like hypothetically, if we were speaking, if you had a magic wand that you could wave and solve one problem in the business right now that's maybe slowing you guys down or would help you guys get to your goal like that, do you know maybe what that one problem would be?
Yeah, I do. I do know what that is, and that is execution.
Mm,
When you have a team of 5 or 10 or 15 or 20, it's pretty easy to look around the figurative table and be like, okay, Tyson, where are you with this deliverable? And
sure.
Shane, do you have any hurdles that are holding you back with this? When you scale from a very small, cohesive team and you add even one more person, it's a brand new team effectively. So knowing that we are going to add, 5, 6, 10 people in the next 12 months,
Yeah.
I just I'm consumed by making sure that wherever we expand to, we provide the same level of responsiveness
Yeah.
and customer support and implementation and innovation and listening with 2 ears first before we ever, think that we're innovative, but listening to what our clinicians need and our administrators need
Hmm.
and then developing from there. So I just don't want to lose the secret sauce. Anytime you have product market fit, which we clearly do after, a few years, you don't want to lose that secret sauce. I want to make us better. I want to help
Yeah.
us, and we are all consumed as a leadership team of how do we scale really well now? How do we grow and still take really good care of people and
Yeah.
help solve this huge puzzle right now?
1000%. And are there any specific roles that you guys are looking to bring on? Like, is it more on the operation side of things? Is it more on like the growth side of things, like the actual delivery of like your guys' platform and the experience for your customers? Is there any specific, I guess, members that you are looking to add to the team?
It's kind of split. We need the outward facing demand generators, sales and
Hmm.
marketing folks that are comfortable in the healthcare environment, talking about AI, navigating the different labor uh, requirements in every state,
Yeah.
and then there's the kind of the back end of those folks that are going to help us, from a product management perspective, from a developing perspective, from a chief financial officer perspective. Those things are what we need to patch together. But like I said,
Yeah.
small committed team now that's accomplished a great deal, and we're going to add, a handful of heads to that. But
Yeah.
we've learned there's a lot of other companies that have gone before us in this space
Hmm.
that you're talking about the COVID period.
Yeah.
They got very big very quickly, and now they're very slow, and we're not going to let that happen here.
Huh. Yeah. 100%. I think too, with your guys' mission and your vision, it's so strong, and like you guys are coming from the right place. Like there is product market fit. I think that whoever you guys do bring onto the team, they, it sounds like from what you told me, like they've got really good leaders in place at NurseIO. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do in the next 12 months. I know I'm going to be keeping track for sure. And if there's anybody else from this podcast that they might want to connect with Shane, or they might want to learn and, check out what NurseIO has going on, what would be the best place for them to go, maybe outside of your guys' website, like social media wise? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Instagram? Like where should they go, and maybe how could they connect?
I think LinkedIn is the most, I'm an old guy, so I've been on LinkedIn for a long time. But um, young people like you go to all sorts of different forums. We're on all those forums, so
Nice.
kind of wherever you like to go. But LinkedIn is constantly being engaged with. People are offering ideas. People are posting shifts. People are doing a lot of stuff through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Of course, our app is from a nursing perspective. Uh, Thousands, as you mentioned earlier, thousands of nurses around the country have already downloaded the app and
Nice.
are at least in process of becoming credentialed within the app and
Huh.
and and uploading their credentials and their various testing and state requirements. So that's the best avenue for nurses that are looking for shift work, whether it's now or 6 months from now, is
Uh-huh.
to download the app and to get comfortable with the app. But it's really easy. It's really straightforward. And then for those nursing directors, chief operating officers, nursing home administrators, hospital chief financial officers, our website and LinkedIn are great places to communicate with us. Or contact me directly, Shane at NurseIO.com.
Perfect. And I'll be sure to throw all of your guys' links in the description of this video. I highly recommend that you guys go check out NurseIO and all the awesome things that they're working on. But other than that, thank you so much again, Shane, for your time and for your insights today. And we'll catch you guys in the next video.
Sounds good. I enjoyed it. Take
Thank
care,
you.
Tyson.